I would say this has been a crazy week, but this has not been a very crazy week of hockey. It's been more of a historic week for the world in sports and in the development of some important conversations we must have for the future. So this is our Stanley Cup playoff recap for the fourth week of the playoffs. Happy Sunday to you all, August 30th. Now this recap will include the games up to August 29th. It will not include the matches from today, August 30th, so most of the series have only gone to 3 games by the Saturday. So just keep that in mind as you watch today's recap. I will also be going over the 2-day postponement of games in just a second. So if you do want to hear stuff about that, I do have a separate video just about that. It is in the playoff playlist and on my channel. So if you want to check that out, do so. But again, I will be going over that in this video as well. So this were the predictions that I made before the start of round 2. I had Philadelphia over the New York Islanders in 7 games, Tampa Bay over Boston in 7 games, Vegas over Vancouver in 6 games, and Colorado over Dallas in 6 games. And so far I am 7 for 16 on my predictions in the play-in round and in round 1. So not the best track record there, but it's been a very unpredictable playoff, as we have definitely seen. So let's go over some of the news in the league. We have the Marc-Andre Fleury getting stabbed by Peter DeBoer, picture by their agent Alan Walsh. It didn't affect Vegas much at all because they stormed down the gate in Game 1 and got that 5-0 win over Vancouver. So this didn't really affect him. Marc-Andre Fleury's agent, Alan Walsh, was complaining about Fleury not getting the amount of starts he should be getting as the number 1 goaltender, as Robin Lehner has played all but 2 of the playoff games in this playoff so far. So, understandable that he did this, but very unnecessary, as Fleury had no problem with the ice time he was getting, and Lehner was the better goaltender. So, nothing we can really say about that. So there's going to be no hockey tonight. This is a historical moment for sporting leagues, that's for sure. To give you some context, the NBA, MLS, MLB, among other sport teams, WNBA, suspended their playoff games yesterday because of the incidents, the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Wisconsin. Now the NHL has followed suit today along with the other leagues in postponing the games. Let me go over some stuff here. So the NHL postponed games on Thursday, August 27th, following postponements from all other major leagues the previous day, following an incident involving Jacob Blake. On August 26th, yesterday, a moment of reflection, as you see the end racism thing on the Jumbotron that happened yesterday in the Eastern bubble. Note that didn't happen in the Western bubble. The Hockey Diversity Alliance advocated for the postponement of games of both the 26th and 27th, with action being taken on the latter day, which is today, the 27th. Now, on the bright side for some of these teams here, this will give them some rest, especially for Philadelphia and the New York Islanders, who are going to play a second half of a back-to-back tonight. So, that's a good spot of note. Future postponement of games is still unclear at the moment. I'm not sure they'll postpone games for tomorrow, but this is the news that has come up from the NHL today. I know all you guys have probably already seen this, but a couple tweets here. We were also told that the Canucks were the driving force behind the ultimate position taken by players to not play tonight. And John Shannon also commented that tomorrow's game might be postponed as well. And then I tweeted that this will be tomorrow's schedule. I did check that from some sources, of course. This will be the schedule if the games aren't postponed tomorrow. This is a very big moment in the hockey world. If anything, we have to realize that sometimes things are more important than hockey. We have many things going on in the world right now. We have this movement. We have Hurricane Laura that is surging across Louisiana and Texas. My hearts go out to all the people who have been hurt throughout this hurricane, and I wish everyone good health as they go through this crisis. About hockey now, and sports in general. I have seen a lot of comments that think that this will have not much of a use in advocating for these rights and this movement, and I fail to see the amount of use this will be for future references. I don't know if this will have a big effect on the world and on this movement. Boycotting games, it seems useful, but I don't see how this will be very useful. I know it's a platform, it's a big platform, the NBA, the NHL, MLB, MLS, football, NFL. I understand it's a big platform. Sports is viewed by people all around the world. And it might have some kind of effect on the world seeing this issue. I know a lot of people are going to be mad about this reaction, the postponing of sports, because of this movement and because of justice for Jacob Blake and for all the people of color. And I admire what the sports teams and the sports leagues have done. It's a good gesture. In my opinion, it is a good gesture. It's a step in some kind of a direction. I'm not going to say it's a good direction or a bad direction, but it's a step. It's a step in some way of raising more awareness of this movement. And I know a lot of you guys will support and a lot of you guys will not support this. And as I see it, this is just a break in sports. Will it have a big ripple effect on the world as a whole? We will have to see. I certainly hope this does raise some awareness. It would be good. Of course, I hope for that. Will it happen in the end? It's tough to know. Okay, so we'll see what happens tomorrow with hockey and with all the other sports. I'll go over all this stuff on Sunday in the recap for this week. This has been a tough couple of days for us. And again, I wish everyone in the Hurricane Laura the best. I hope they're fine. Hope they'll get through this strongly. We're also going to talk about the Toronto and the Pittsburgh trade involving Kapanen. I know this has been a talk about how Toronto has won this trade very well. So, let's go over the trade here. Pittsburgh has traded David Warsofsky, Evan Rodriguez, and Philip Hollander, and the 15th overall pick in the 2020 draft to Toronto. And Toronto has traded to Pittsburgh Pontus Aberg, Kasperi Kapanen, who's a $3.2 million cap hit in 2022, or up to 2022, and Jesper Lindgren, which is the number 95 pick in 2015. This is an interesting trade. I will definitely give the advantage to Toronto, as Evan Rodriguez is a pretty good player, pretty good depth forward. And Warsofsky and Hollander are decent depth players as well. Good for the AHL or any other leagues, or maybe they can be a nice fourth liner later on, or a good defenseman. Now, trading Kasperi Kapanen to Pittsburgh, it might benefit Pittsburgh, but I don't think it's a very good trade at all. As I think that 15th overall pick, they chose to keep it after the draft lottery and after they got eliminated by Montreal. But this is interesting that they decided to trade the 15th overall pick for Kapanen, basically. Interesting trade. I know a lot of you guys think Pittsburgh definitely don't know what they're thinking, or Jim Rutherford doesn't know what he's thinking, but it's an interesting trade, nonetheless. That's all I'll say. Okay, so now let's get started with our series recaps. As I said, the games are only updated to Saturday, August 29th, so we won't include some of the Game 4s you see on Sunday, on the 30th. So, the series is on August 29th between the Flyers and the Islanders, 2-1 for the Islanders. A little bit shocking, considering I did predict Flyers in 7. Well, again, that can still happen. Power play, Philadelphia is 9.3%, the Islanders 18.2%. The penalty kill, 78.4% for Philadelphia, 77.8% for the New York Islanders. The top 3 point getters for Philadelphia, Kevin Hayes with 9 points, Voracek with 8 points, and Couturier with 7 points. Top 3 point getters for the Islanders, Josh Bailey, 11 points, Anthony Beauvillier, 7 goals, 3 assists, 10 points, and Matthew Barzal with 10 points. Goaltenders, Carter Hart, 7-4, 2.08, 931 save percentage. He has been good. I know he has lost a few games here in the series, but there's no indication of going to backups at all, because Carter Hart is the way to go. On the Islanders side, Semyon Varlamov, 9-2, 1.69, 935 save percentage. And then Thomas Greiss, he did have to play a game in relief of Varlamov in this series. But that's not to say Varlamov dropped the ball at all, except assist in Game 2, along with 3 goals on 10 shots. A little bit of a tougher game, but nonetheless, Varlamov has been very good. He's only allowed 4 goals in 3 games, so no worries there. So Game 1 was 4-0 for the Islanders. Varlamov with a 29 save shutout. Back-to-back shutouts, beating back the last series against Washington. And Game 2 is 4-3 for Philadelphia in overtime. Varlamov was pulled, along 3 goals on 10 shots. The Islanders came back from 3-0 down to Philadelphia. Had that offside challenge that was a little tough. In Game 3, 3-1 for the Islanders, was postponed until August 29th for 2 days. The Flyers scored the opening goal, but the Islanders scored 3 straight to make it 3-1. So, I think the Islanders were a dark horse to win this series and to make it far in these playoffs. Barry Trotz has shown what good leadership as a head coach he has. Great job on the Islanders shutting the Flyers down to just 5 goals in 3 games. Actually, 4 goals actually in 3 games. Great job shutting them down. 4 or 5? 5, right? Yeah, 5. They had 4 in Game 2. Great job shutting them down. Do I expect the Islanders to continue this? Yes, I do. I do hope the Flyers make it competitive, as I thought they were a favorite to win the Stanley Cup, but maybe that outlook has changed a little bit. So I think if the Flyers want to come back in this series, they will need to play to their potential. It's a little tough for them, but I do hope that they can achieve their potential and make this a competitive series once again. Not saying it's not competitive right now, but the Islanders seem to have a clear advantage, as the Flyers are getting stifled in offense, and that's a tough thing for them. Okay, let's move on to the next series. Tampa Bay and Boston. So this one's the only series that has played 4 games as of Saturday, August 29th. The series as of August 29th is 3-1 for Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's power play, 19.4%, Boston at 22%. Penalty kill for Tampa, 81.8%, and Boston at 81.1%. Top 3 point getters for Tampa Bay, Braden Point. He has scored a lot of points as of Braden Point. 6 goals, 10 assists, 16 points. Nikita Kucherov with also 16 points. But that drops off as Andre Palat is the 3rd highest point scorer with just 8 points. For Boston, Brad Marchand, 7 goals, 12 points. David Krejci, 10 points. Pasternak, 9 points. Goaltenders, Vasilevsky, 9-3, 1.98, 9.27 save percentage. I believe that was the same numbers he had last week, except for the record has changed. Tuukka Rask has opted out. Those are the numbers he had before he left. And then Jaro Halak took over. He is 4-4, 2.94, and a 900 save percentage. So in Game 1, it was 3-2 Boston. Pasternak was in from his injury. Hedman had 2 goals in the 3rd period to make it a competitive game. In Game 2, 4-3 Tampa in overtime. Marchand and Coleman each had 2 goals. And then an offside challenge on the Tampa 1-1 goal that worked in favor of the Bruins. Game 3, 7-1 for Boston, 7-1 for Tampa, back-to-back game, and Boston allowed the most goals in a playoff game since 1992. Halak was pulled, and Vlader, the backup goaltender, got in briefly. Game 4, 3-1 for Tampa, got postponed 1 day until August 29th, and Nick Ritchie with a 5-minute major hit on Yanni Gourde. That might get some supplemental discipline from the league. Don't know any news as of that for now. So 3-1 Tampa here, and not to say this is unexpected, as I thought Tampa had the advantage going into the series. I think I said Tampa in 7. I think that was my prediction, and it might go a little quicker than that, as Tampa has had a clear advantage and really is stifling that Boston offense. Great job from Vasilevsky, especially in Game 4, to stand on his head, as he has done for most of his career with Tampa Bay. Hope he keeps that up. On the Boston side of things, I think they need to... I can't just say play to the potential, as I think they really need to step up that special team play. The Bruins, not to say they've been doing extremely bad. It's Game 3, of course. We're not going to talk about that, but they need to get some scoring from all their players, that's for sure. Okay, this is a brief recap. Let's move on to the next series. Alright, this one I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on, because it is the Vancouver Canucks, my favorite team. So the series as of August 29th is 2-1 for Vegas. And this is not entirely unexpected. I know a lot of you guys will criticize the Canucks with their they got shut out twice, but let me just say, I'm very proud for the Canucks of being here in the second round and making this somewhat of a series. That said, I hope the Canucks can tie it up later on tonight in Game 4. It's going to be a tall order to beat the Vegas Golden Knights, that's for sure, for the Canucks, and they have their work cut out for them. And it's going to be an uphill climb. Power play, Vegas 21.9%, Vancouver 22.6%. Note that the Canucks power play has been diminishing, and it was at 32% at one point in these playoffs. It has dropped significantly. Penalty kill for Vegas, 87.9%. That's a big thing the Canucks have to overcome, the Vegas penalty kill. And the Canucks penalty kill at 79.3%. Top 3 point getters for Vegas, Shea Theodore, a defenseman, mind you, with 12 points. Mark Stone with 6 goals, 11 points. He's been excellent against the Canucks here. Riley Smith with 11 points as well. Canucks, Elias Pettersson with 16 points. JT Miller, 11 points. Quinn Hughes, 11 points. Bo Horvat has 8 goals, but he's not one of the top 3 point getters. He has 10 points. Goaltenders, Marc-Andre Fleury has not started a game in this series. He is still 2-0, 2.586 save percentage. Robin Lehner, 7-2, 2.08 goals against average and 921 save percentage. Robin Lehner has had 2 shutouts in this series. All the wins he's had against Vancouver are shutouts. So, get a goal, maybe you'll win against Lehner. Not to be superstitious or anything, but that's just the thing. Jacob Markstrom, still the Canucks hero, that's for sure. I think Markstrom has kept the Canucks in it for most of these games. Game 1, I can say it's a little bit of a exception, but Game 2 and Game 3, Markstrom definitely did pretty well. Markstrom has faced 30 plus shots in most games. He has faced an average of 35.2 shots in his 13 starts. Over 450 shots against. Give Markstrom a big dinner after this. Game 1, 5-0 for Vegas. Markstrom was pulled in the third, allowing 5 goals on 34 shots. It's more of a mercy pull than a bad game pull. Vegas, I found, did come in waves, as many people say. Roussel with a 10-minute misconduct for hugging. He just put his arm around the player at the Golden Knights, and he got a 10-minute misconduct. Roussel also got a 10-minute misconduct in Game 3, which I'll talk about in a second. In Game 2, 5-2 for Vancouver. Toffoli was in, and he got 3 points in his return. Shots were 40-27 for Vegas. A team record for the Canucks with 40 shot blocks. Antoine Roussel limited to 6:32 ice time. You may wonder why I'm talking so much about Antoine Roussel. We'll talk about that in just a second. In Game 3, 3-0 for Vegas. Second time that Vegas allowed 30 plus shots in the postseason. Canucks allowed 32 shots. The only other game that the Golden Knights allowed 30 or more shots was against the Avalanche in the round robin, when they allowed 35. Lehner with a 32 save shutout, and this game was postponed for 2 days until August 29th. This has been a very physical series. Not just the offense, but the physicality was definitely there. Roussel and Lehner with the pre-game stuff shouldn't happen. Golden Knights are manipulating the Canucks to play their game. And that's what the Canucks are struggling in, because they're focusing on the emotion and the drive rather than the offense, which they have not done well in this series whatsoever. So they will need to improve that. They can't get shut out once again. If they get shut out once again, this series is over. Actually, if they lose Game 4, I think it's over. It's that simple. So 2-1 for Vegas here, and that's very important to note. The Canucks are still in this. They need to get that quick start. They can't fall behind. If they fall behind, chasing the game is very tough for them, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so that's it for our recaps here, so let's move on to the injuries. Alright, here is Colorado and Dallas. They have played 3 games. as of August 29th. I do know they have a game on the 30th, which is the day this video is going to be released, but I'm not including that game here today in this recap. You'll see that next week. So the power play, Colorado 27.1%, Dallas 21.1%, the penalty kill for Colorado 84.9%, and Dallas 78.6%. Top 3-point getters for Colorado, McKinnon 20 points in 11 games for Colorado. Amazing by McKinnon, 7 goals, 13 assists. Mikko Rantanen 15 points, Nazem Kadri with 14 points. And if you're curious what Landeskog has, he has 12 points. And on the Dallas side, we have Miro Heiskanen with 15 points. We have Jamie Benn with 10 points. And we have Pavelski and Gurianov with 9 points and 7 goals each. Goaltenders, Philip Grubauer, 5-0-1, 1.87, 922 save percentage. He was unfortunately injured in Game 1, and that was a big loss for Colorado, that's for sure. So Pavel Francouz has taken over as the number 1 goaltender with, I believe, Michael Hutchinson as the backup right now. Pavel Francouz is 2-3, 2.69 goals in his average and a 908 save percentage. On the Dallas side of things, Ben Bishop 1-1, 4.04 goals in his average, 62 save percentage. He's been injured and in and out of the lineup a lot, and I believe he remains out. So Anton Khudobin has played all but 2 of the games. Khudobin is 6-4, 2.75 goals in his average, and a 913 save percentage. Now let's go over the 3 games they have played. Game 1, 5-3 for Dallas. It was 11 games since Dallas has scored first. Erik Johnson got injured and Philip Grubauer got injured for Colorado after allowing 3 goals and 10 shots. The goals were only from the first line for Colorado. In Game 2, 5-2 Dallas, Erik Johnson was out. Francouz started because Grubauer was injured. Dallas had 4 straight goals in the second. An interesting 4-2 goal where Esa Lindell jammed it in, and they had a review of where that puck crossed the line, and from different angles you can see the puck actually did cross the line. Again, goals only came from the first line on the power play for Colorado. So all 5 goals up to Game 2 were all scored from either McKinnon, Rantanen, or Landeskog. Game 3, 6-4 for Colorado. First goal was scored by a non-first line member of Colorado, including Andrei Burakovsky and some other players as well. Dallas went from 3-1 down to score 3 straight goals to make it 4-3, but Colorado would score 2 more goals in short order to take the lead again, 5-4, and then get an empty netter and make it 6-4. So very interesting matchup there. Dallas has made every single game interesting. Game 4 was postponed 2 days until August 30th. You will get to see that today at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern. I don't know if that game is out by the time this video is out, but... Okay. So the series is 2-1 Dallas right now. And Dallas, I've seen them play and they have, I think, they still have the advantage. I know Colorado was a big favorite to win the Stanley Cup even. And they seem very deep, but the big issue with Colorado here is that they're not scoring from their depth players very much. That was an improvement in Game 3, and we saw that they were able to win the game when their depth chipped in. But when only McKinnon, Rantanen, and Landeskog get on the scoreboard, that's very difficult for the Avalanche to fight a Dallas team that's playing from all 4 lines. And finally, Ben Sagan and Radulov are starting to show up, and when that happens, the Avalanche are in for a challenge. I know the Avalanche have what it takes, and they need to play to their potential in order to get back into the series and tie it in Game 4. Dallas has made every game interesting, and I've had a lot of fun watching this series for sure, and I'm very much looking forward to what happens next in the series. So injuries right now as of August 29th, of course. I don't know if this is the full list of injuries. Stamkos is still out for Tampa Bay. For Vancouver, we have Tyler Toffoli, who returned Game 2 against Vegas, and Tyler Myers is still out for Vancouver. For the Dallas and Colorado series, Ben Bishop is out for Dallas, and Eric Johnson, Grubauer, and Matt Calvert is out for Colorado. Big losses there, especially for Johnson and Grubauer. I don't know if Eric Johnson is back yet. I haven't really seen him as of late. Maybe he's back. I don't know. I'll need to check that out and make sure I see what I need to see to change that next week. So we'll see you next week on September the 6th. This has been a very interesting week, and not just a political week, but a very important week for developments in conversations about social issues. And I think it's an enlightening week for the movement of Black lives. A lot of people don't support the boycotting and all the cancellation of games, but I think it's a good gesture, I would say. Admirable. Not sure if it will do much at all to help the movement, but yeah. And hockey-wise, it's been an interesting week, especially with the Avs and Dallas Canucks able to win a game against Vegas. Tampa, Boston, a 7-1 game. And then Philadelphia and the Islanders. The Islanders doing pretty well there, to say the least. Okay, so that's going to wrap it up for our recap here today. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys for watching. Smash that like button if you enjoyed it. And as always, it's time for us to go. See you guys. Have a great rest of your weekend. Take care, everyone. And have a great rest of your day.